Hey 12s! There's something weird, and at the same time incredibly promising, starting to happen in Seattle. The offense struggled, the protection collapsed, the whole game turned into chaos, but it was inside that chaos that the Seahawks showed the first signs that something big is getting ready to blow up. Just when everything looked like it was falling apart, the defense turned into a monster. The backfield carried the offense like it had the whole team on its shoulders, and behind all of that, a heavy rumor started to circulate about a possible addition that could completely reshape the future of this offense. It's the kind of moment that makes every fan sit up a little straighter, wondering if they're watching the season pivot in real time. So hit that like button, subscribe, and stay locked in, because today, there's news that can flip the entire season. The Seahawks beat the Minnesota Vikings 26-0 in a gritty, ugly, physical game that opened a rare window into where this team actually stands and where it might be headed. Sam Darnold had another rough afternoon, and it's no exaggeration to say it was one of his most chaotic outings since the disaster against the Rams. He finished 14 of 26 for just 128 yards, no touchdowns, and a 67.5 rating, numbers that tell the whole story of how hard it was for him to find any rhythm. The Vikings came in with an ultra-aggressive defense, blitzing nonstop and forcing Darnold to speed everything up, reads, decisions, movement. And when you're dealing with that kind of constant heat, even routine plays feel tighter, more dangerous, more rushed. But the biggest problem was the protection completely falling apart. Anthony Bradford had another tough outing, struggling with the intensity and creativity of Brian Flores' defense. And he wasn't the only one. The whole line sank together, giving up 4 sacks, 5 QB hits, and even more direct pressure right in the pocket. It was the kind of situation where, even though the quarterback shares some of the blame, it's obvious the structure around him didn't support the game plan at all, and the flow of the offense never found its footing. And just when it looked like the offense was going to fall apart completely, the run game pulled the whole thing back to the surface. Kenneth Walker took a while to get going, but when he did, he showed why he's one of the most impactful players on this offense. He had 56 yards on 13 carries, many of them in crucial moments to control the clock. Those tough early down runs, the ones that don't show up on highlight reels but keep the playbook open, became the backbone of the entire offensive effort. Zach Charbonnet added 52 yards on 14 carries and punched in a touchdown, showing balance, strength, and consistency between the tackles. In a game where the passing attack was completely stuck, the backfield grabbed the wheel and refused to let the offense die, giving the team the one stable phase it could rely on. But not everything went as expected. Jackson Smith-Njigba had a really quiet afternoon, limited to just 2 catches for 23 yards. That happened because the Vikings were glued to him all night, doubling him in several situations and taking away his freedom to create. It was the first time this season JSN was basically erased from a game, and it served as a reminder that defenses are starting to treat him like a true number 1 threat. If the offense stumbled, the defense more than made up for it. Ernest Jones absolutely destroyed the Vikings. His pick 6 off Max Brosmer wasn't just one of the biggest plays of the night, it flipped the whole vibe. Jones read the route perfectly, capitalized on the pressure from DeMarcus Lawrence, and took off for 84 yards like he got launched out of a cannon. Moments like that change sidelines, change stadiums, change momentum in ways that numbers don't fully capture. And he wasn't done. In the fourth quarter, he picked Brosmer off again and finished with 12 tackles, leading the defense in intensity and execution. And speaking of Lawrence, it's impossible to ignore his turnaround. After an entire offseason of criticism about his contract, he's delivering exactly the kind of impact Seattle expected. Beyond generating the pressure that set up the pick 6, he also forced a crucial fumble on Aaron Jones, showing explosiveness, awareness, and controlled violence. Performances like these don't just help win games, they redefine reputations and reframe narratives. When you stack all of that together, the 0 points allowed, the multiple turnovers, the total chokehold on the opposing offense, It's clear this group is growing at the perfect moment and reshaping the personality of this team from the inside out. And it's exactly in this context, with the defense exploding and the roster gaining confidence, that the next storyline comes in, the one that mixes health, depth, and internal decisions that may shape the final stretch of the season. For the first time in a long time, the Seahawks walked out of a game without a terrifying injury list. Anthony Bradford left with an elbow issue, but Mike McDonald said it doesn't look serious. That opens the door for Christian Haynes, who came in playing really well and might even take the job if the team decides to shake things up. Josh Jobe left for a concussion check, but he seems fine. And Ty Okada, even after being listed as questionable, played the whole thing, stayed physical, stayed tough, and earned direct praise from McDonald. For a team that's been dealing with setbacks week after week, having a night where bodies hold up and the depth looks solid brings a sense of stability that goes way beyond the scoreboard. It's the first time in a long time Seattle finishes a game feeling actual physical relief, and that shifts the internal vibe, gives the staff breathing room for adjustments, and directly influences the planning for the next phase of the season. And right when the team finally catches its breath, a rumor starts to take over the entire building. With the deadline gone and the team aiming for something bigger than just a playoff berth, heavy conversations started surfacing about a massive move at the wide receiver position. Seattle already made a bold move bringing in Rashid Shaheed from the Saints, a deep threat burner who forces defenses to respect the top of the field. But now, with the news coming out of San Francisco, Brandon Ayuk's name is back at the center of the storm. Bleacher Report listed Seattle as one of the ideal landing spots if the 49ers actually go through with cutting ties. Ayuk is in a really messy situation, internal conflict, missed meetings, clear tension with the staff. And when you remember that Clint Kubiak was his offensive coordinator in 2023, during the peak of his career, and that Darnold was on that roster too, the conversation instantly gains traction and becomes a real talking point inside fan circles. The chemistry, the familiarity, the timing, it all lines up in a way that makes people wonder if something bigger is brewing. The obstacle is obvious, the contract. $120 million over 4 years with a cap hit of $43 million in 2028 is no joke. In its current structure, Seattle wouldn't even consider it, but if the Niners release him outright, everything changes. Pairing Ayuk with JSN would instantly give Seattle one of the most explosive young duos in the league, a combination that would completely reshape how defenses prepare for this team and how Kubiak builds his weekly game plan. When you put all this together, it's impossible to ignore that Seattle is building something bigger than week-to-week results. There's a pattern forming, a new identity growing on both sides of the ball. Mike McDonald's fingerprints are everywhere, an aggressive, smart, turnover-creating defense that flips games. And on offense, even with the inconsistencies, you can feel Clint Kubiak adjusting the plan, trying to give his quarterback better protection, leaning into the run game, and using the new speed to open up different looks. Darnold's future still depends on how he responds over the next few weeks, and the Ayuk rumor opens a huge door for what this offense could become next year. And for the first time in a while, the energy around the team feels aligned, fans, staff, players, all sensing that something is shifting. Now I want to hear from you 12s. Do you think this team has what it takes to make the playoffs? Can Darnold hold the line until the end? And if you were the GM, would you bring in Ayuk to push this offense even further? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I really want to hear what you think. And of course, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss anything happening with the Seahawks. Let's keep building this together. Go Hawks!